Hello, welcome back to the Spider's Web, and in this video we're going to be painting Enceladus. There we are, yes, there he is. Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit more. No, I can't. I'll have to raise the camera up a little bit more. There we are. Hopefully you'll be able to see him all now. This is going to be one of those videos. Yes, we're going to do this all in one take, and then I'm going to be splitting the video exactly the same way as I did with Gaia and Kronos. So let's get on with it, shall we? Right, Enceladus is said to be buried under Mount Etna. Volcano. Lava. Can you tell what I'm on about now? Let's get on with it. We have our brush. We're going to start off with Wazdaka Red, which is this one. I'll put quite a bit of this on our palette because we'll need quite a bit of this on our model. What a surprise. Oops, quite a bit more than I was expecting, and I'm using the wrong brush, suddenly realised. Oh well, not to worry, let's dab it on. So we're just going to go over everywhere with this. I suppose what I could have done was primed it first of all with the red primer that I have, but silly me, never thought. So what I'm going to do instead is go over all of this with this Wazdaka Red, in the hope that I get to get into all the little nooks and crannies. And sorry about the noise, as usual we have the neighbours in. So you're going to have some shouting in the background, we're going to have some doors banging and some horrible music being played. I hope you can't hear it too much. I can hear it too much. I haven't got my hearing aid in, but I can hear it, and it's getting annoying, but never mind. That's not why we're here. So let's just speed this up a little bit while I get this all painted, and when it's finished we can come back and get on with the next stage. Right, so I've only gone and put the wrong bloody colour down. I've put some Evil Sun Scarlet down instead of Wazdaka Red. As you can probably tell the difference with the tone of the colour, but never mind. Let's just get on with some Wazdaka Red for the final stage of this. And yeah, the reason I decided against doing this with the spray is because the spray isn't matched with any of the colours I have. So if I did it with the spray and I'd missed a bit and I tried painting over it, it would stick out like a sore thumb probably, because I don't have an exact match to the spray can. So that's why I've done it like this, because I'd still probably have to go over this again. With the red, so I thought might as well just do it this way rather than faff about, because I originally primed it grey. I was going to do it red, but I didn't for that particular reason. Right, so all I need to do now is just make sure that everywhere is red and there's no bits of grey showing, because if there is grey showing, especially in the recesses, it's not going to look right. I've got to make sure every little bit of this minute now is red, because I can't come back to it later to correct if it's not. So it's eagle eye job now. This is the hard part. Everything has to be, say, coloured in red, especially in the recesses, because that's where the the magma is showing from, and that's what the red is representing here. If it was on the outer, with the raised areas, then won't be much of a problem, but all the recessed areas need to be this red colour. So it's just take a little bit of time, as I say, to make sure that all that is covered, and that should be about right, I think. I can't see any more. On these areas. See, that's the part. There are some little spots here and there. Some I think I will be able to disguise somewhat, but there are others that would, as I say, stick out like a sore thumb. So better trying to make sure it's right first time in a case like this, because as I said, there's no going back to it once you start doing the upper layers of this mini. And as you can see, I'm also not very careful about painting around these shackles here, because I want to go, somebody's at the door. It's more than usual. I can't do anything without being disturbed. So I won't be a second back. Sorry about that. Always gets visitors when I least expect it, or at least want it. So have I got everywhere now that this has had a chance to dry a little bit and the paint's shrunk a little bit, as it does when it dries. A couple of little spots here and there. Probably be able to get in with a smaller brush to get these parts. There we go. That looks... See, that's the thing with these big, weirdly moulded ones. They're a great idea for the theme, but the practicality of painting can be a little bit, if you know what I mean. Especially for those of us who do these paintings on video. So So I'm just making sure that the crevices are all red. If the crevices are red, we should be okay for everything else, because it's just going to be a different colour. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm hoping that is okay now. There's a little bit there I've just seen. This is the first time I've picked up a paintbrush since I got back from Scotland a few weeks ago. And I'm a little bit rusty, I think. Trying to get back into the swing of things again, as they say. There's some more down here. And we have. There's a lot of crevices to look at, and they're not crevices and they're going to be covered in, but just to be on the safe side. So that looks, oops, hand there needs doing. Right, I'm going to call this this part finish now, and we're going to look at, because sometimes I'm not quite sure whether it's the light or whether they have missed some area. No, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to call that finish now. There we go. So I'll just rinse this brush out, and we'll go on to the next stage of this mini, and that is covering up all the red we've just done. Yeah, I'm not being sarcastic here, because that's what we are doing. Usually for the basis of stone I would use something like Abaddon Black. This time I don't want to do that. I want to use something completely different, so I am going to. On the completely different I'm going to use, when I can find it. Where are you? 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 Oh, there you are. Got you. You haven't done it. Eshin Grey. So I couldn't see it. So Eshin Grey, and this part is going to be done without using our alternate palette. When I can see it, I'll put it under. Nope. What have I done with it? Oh, it's there under everything. And we are going to be using our little dry brush. A little bit on, wipe off, and actually I am not sure as to whether or not I should use black, because it's going to work out darker. Yes, black would be better. So instead of that, at the moment we're going to use Abaddon Black. And there we are. And we're going to go over all of the stone areas. Again, exactly the same way as we did Kronos, but some areas of this are going to stay red, exactly the same as Kronos, but we have to watch out underneath the mouth, because that is lava pouring from his mouth. And what we also need to do is make sure we get all the stone and cover all the stone, and just leave what do we call it? Just leave the the lava in between the stone areas. I'm going to do it all in different for me, or on different directions, because I want to make sure that, as I say, all the stonework is, all the stone parts are covered, and the only way to do that is just by going over in different directions, because I don't want the red to be too overbearing with this. I want it just to be a background thing, so you can see it behind the stone. It's going to be it's a hard job to do in a way, because it's hard, not hard, but it's what you'd call tricky to get everywhere, and I don't particularly want any of the hand to be red, but I wanted to make sure that it's all had the same shade and the same tone. I didn't want what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't want any tonal differences in this, which is why I've painted the hands as well, even though I don't want them to be red. So now, if I just did these straight black, without putting the red there, there would be possibly a slight tonal difference, because we're not applying the paint thick. So you would see that there was something missing here. Plus there's also the fact that well, you might do, I'm not saying you would do, you might do, but what you will see is all this coming together as time goes on. I know when I did Kronos I got some messages saying how they didn't like the red primer, but that was before the final, not the red primer, the red base coat, but that, as I say, that was before the final video was released, showing how I finished it all off. And it's not, you can't judge a painting or a model until it's finished. You can't judge it part way through painting, because once you get certain bits in, you will see that it should all tie together and start making sense, but that only happens as it gets later and later into the proceedings. So I'm going to shut up now and play some music, because this is taking time. we're getting very near the end of this stage of the proceedings now. Just this leg to do. It does take a while for this because it's a big model, and I need to get some more black paint, but so because everything underneath is red, we can pick out this. It's like a reverse highlighter. We're adding lowlights rather than highlights here, but we're doing it the same way we'll do a highlight. As you can see, we're dry brushing on and trying to pick out the raised areas, but as I say, in this case the raised areas are black rather than brighter. The brighter part is underneath. And it does give a nice effect. I do like the way this kind of thing looks when you're finished. Does give a rather molten rocky kind of effect, and that's what we're looking at here. A little bit more black on the brush, and I think we should be okay. Now to continue with other things. Now we're going to let all this black dry now, and while it's drying we're going to go on to the oops, have to make sure all the hands are covered. We don't want any of the red showing through. A little bit here and there is not going to matter, but for the majority of it we want it black. We don't want any really big areas of red showing, is what I'm meaning. If we just get a little bit of it, just a hint of it coming through, that's fine. I'm not fussed about that. As I said, we're leaving that area as is, but we have to make sure that any of the larger rock pieces, the pointy jagged areas, we have to make sure that all of that is covered. Any of the raised areas we want covered and completely black. The creases or the crevices in these parts are going to be the shadow parts of those, so we will be coming back to highlight that part of the rock area. Because bear in mind, that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be living rock. A little bit more black. Only a small bit. Now we should be getting very close to finishing. I'm just making sure that everything now is how I want it before I can go on to the next stage. And that next stage, as I say, is just the part that we're going to do while we're waiting for this part to dry. And there we are. I think that should be okay for what we want. Yep, there we go. There we are. It looks a bit of a mess, I'll say, at the moment, but that will change. And we'll just give this brush a rinse out and get all the black off it. Oh, as much of the black off as we can get.